Recently, I came across a video from McDojo Life showing what appears to be really bad jiu-jitsu. In the accompanying post, he asked his followers, what's wrong with these techniques? Reluctantly, and at the risk of being misunderstood, I offered a contrarian viewpoint against the majority of the comments, which noted that it was a bullshit set of techniques. Under the context of sound jiu-jitsu principles, it is bullshit. But the techniques themselves, given a more appropriate context, isn't that bullshit. Here's how our conversation went. I wrote, no issues. You won't be able to buck a BJJ player off like this, but it'll work on a great majority of untrained attackers. Same with non-technical takedown or tackle attempts. It won't work in grappling or in MMA competition, but likely will be good enough for the average shit disturber. He replied, we will disagree here. I rolled with thousands of beginners over the last 25 years, and it has never been that easy. Even day one guys. It's natural instinct to catch yourself from falling. Then I replied with, an absolute beginner at jiu-jitsu is still far more educated by a long shot than someone with absolutely no grappling experience. Now, I'm just as much against bullshit than you are, bro, so if dude in the video was teaching jiu-jitsu, yeah, it's a problem. But the technique itself, well, it might be enough to create a window of opportunity for escape. Then he replies with, I can agree with your last statement, create a window of opportunity for escape. This will not be the escape though, which is how it's being taught. Even brand new guys tend to catch themselves from just falling over. And closing the conversation, I wrote, hey, fair enough. By the way, most of the time, these kinds of anti-grappling stuff is absolute nonsense based on presentation context. I'm not advocating bypassing good training, it's just that you know how most people are. They want to take a weekend course and be done with it. Jiu-jitsu requires work, and that's why it works. He then replied with, definitely can agree with that. The issue is when it's the person teaching the nonsense as this works when it doesn't. The picture of himself in the background was almost an immediate giveaway, LOL. And finally, I finished with this. Agree. I'm personally more careful with presumptions these days, but we cannot ignore the red flags for sure. I'm gonna share this video and note our convo. I think it's an important nuance worth discussing. Keep up the solid work. So those nuances involved context, and in fairness, there was a language barrier, and this was only a clip. It was also just a demo, and demos illustrate the principles of the technique without the resistance and pressure often associated with validating those techniques. Well, sometimes we don't need to see pressure to know something works, like a punch to the face. But even that, even the most fundamental tool we've got as humans to defend ourselves is subject to the contextual conditions in which they're applied. A punch to the face thrown against a thick-necked heavyweight is not the same punch to the face against some drunken frat boy. So much depends on context, and when context is missing, you risk being highlighted and ridiculed on the internet. And as much as I really don't want to do this, I'd like to take this video and reimagine it with a context that might be appropriate and might have prevented him from being called out. This technique won't work on educated grapplers, nor will it work if the person on top is much bigger than you. But if you find yourself in this position and you have no idea what to do, this is something you can try. Remember to keep trying, keep fighting, stay violent. This is just a demo, and it won't be this easy in real life. If you do want to increase the odds of something like this working, there are no shortcuts. Take jiu-jitsu or wrestling classes and stick with it. Really didn't want to do that, but there you go. Okay, so fine, cool. But just so to balance out the universe, I'm gonna go ahead and give it some bad context. If you're mounted like this, the solution is easy, very simple. If you do it right, it works every time. Size does not matter if you do this correctly. and boom. Just like that easy. All right, so that's it. Guys, my point here is not to dismiss techniques that fall short of the competition standard, but more importantly that instructors stay honest with how they present their material. Always include context, be honest with that context, and hopefully that's enough to keep you out of the McDojo Life Instagram feed, which, by the way, is pretty damn awesome and entertaining, so make sure to check them out. All right, so until next time, I'm Paulo Rubio. Peace.